from Ghana, joining us here in our studios, but he's not in our studios, but definitely we hang out with him in terms of finding out a little bit more about his career, and that is Trigmatic, a Ghanaian award-winning artist, singer, rapper, songwriter, and composer. In the last 15 years of his career, he's got 5 albums, 2 EPs to his credit, 11 national and international awards, including 5 VGMA awards, and over 30 music award nominations. Fundamentally a storyteller, Trigmatic successfully tells the story of contemporary Ghana from an urban route, the struggles, the conquests, and hopes. His unique voice and style are fusing different genres and leave you with a unique edge in the music. Trigmatic, thank you for joining us right here on Channel Africa.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
Your versatility is fantastic, but we'll come to that. Let's start with your name, Trigmatic. What does that actually mean, and where did it start?
So before I became Trigmatic, and thanks for asking, it was trigger, as in a gun's trigger.
No, we don't want that. You're scaring me now.
Yes, and with time, I think it just evolved. One time I wasn't supposed to be the artist that I am now. I just went with a friend to an interview, and after he was done rapping, the guy just said, "Oh, can you also do something to the instrumental?" And I did, and it was crazy. So he was like, "What's your name?" And the name just came up. I just said Trigmatic because at the time other people had my initial name, so I decided to make mine a bit different. Yeah. And then later, when my first album came out, we decided to add meaning to it. So Trig, just to remind me of who I used to be, and then Matic is melodies awaken the inactive conscience.
Now you are very deep. Hey. Trigmatic. I know. And, coming up with a name is very interesting. Like you're saying, it starts off from an involuntary way, and then you have to consciously think about, okay, what is the meaning of this? What am I trying to convey? How does that process happen? Do you just sit and you think about your branding all the time, and then these concepts come along?
Yes, I mean, it depends on how far you want to take yourself as a creative. Mm-hmm. Do you want to just do music, or you want to do music and be a brand? If you want to be a brand, then you must have a name that is relatable, and then also has some meaning or tells a story. And so for me, it's been about having these two things in mind, making sure that if people are connecting to me, or my fans are connected to my music for one reason or the other, they can understand what I represent.
Yeah, Trigmatic, I'm going through your Instagram here, and it feels like Africa means a lot to you, or being Ghanaian is something that you hold dear. You always dressed in bright African colors, and you always kind of are putting your culture out there. How important is Ghana to you? Do you hold it close to your heart in terms of your identity, and how do you reflect that through the music?
Absolutely. I love and live my Ghanaian heritage everywhere I go. Initially, I started off as a very deep hip-hop rap artist. Mm-hmm. And I feel like at the time, I feel like I turned my back to my people. And so when somewhere around 2015, I fell in love with Africa. I think I found the African spirit, and it just made so much sense to me because it gave me that sense of belonging. And I found myself in and around a few other African countries because at the time, and from where I grew up, which is like, a bit of a slum, you just look up to going to the West and maybe making life better. Everyone was looking at going to either America or Europe, where I was coming from. And then I found myself, maybe somewhere in Nigeria, going somewhere in Uganda. And I realized the diverse cultures, the beautiful people that we have who are just like me and are very, very connected to their roots. And I realized how I didn't know much about my people. And so I came back. When I went back to Ghana, I decided that I was then going to first learn about myself and learn about my people, and then use my music to preserve not just the music heritage, but the culture as well. And this is what brought me to this point.
I think that's incredible, because a lot of us, especially those of us who want to see ourselves, becoming a brand outside of our countries, outside of the continent, we don't focus much on getting to know ourselves, but we focus more on, assimilating to the places or the spaces where we want to see ourselves. But something that I've also find quite interesting about you is how genre fluid you are. I mean, if I look at some of your earlier awards, in 2020, you win the Best Rapper of the Year, and then the next year you win the Dance Hall Song of the Year, which are two different genres of music. And from the sound that we've just listened to now with your collaboration with Ralph Gum, that's also quite a different genre from back in the 2010s and 2011. So how does that appeal to you? What genre you use to express yourself at a particular time?
Well, big question. So I love to see myself as an Afrofusion artist, where I'm able to do any and everything because I love music. And so once I think I am in a space that has a particular genre and I can work with, I go with it. But most importantly, I make sure that I maintain the key elements, which is my language, which is my rhythm, my melody, because I realize that complex nature of the African sound. Like when you look at the polyrhythmic nature of our sound, it is not found anywhere else but Africa. And so I make sure that these elements are found in there. As much as I'll do a rap on it, or I'll try and do a fusion with maybe dancehall, like you rightfully said, dancehall, reggae, even gospel music. Some of the times because I've been nominated for Gospel Music Awards some of the times. And so for me, it's really about creating music, and I don't limit myself to the genres. However, I don't lose myself in that creative process. So I make sure that Africa is well represented, especially Ghana, where I'm from.
Hey, Ghana is in the house today, and you can see Trigmatic on our live streaming. He's streaming from his home as well, and we are right here in studio. So wherever you are, you can come to our live stream on our Facebook page and also our Instagram handle at Channel Africa 1, or our YouTube page at Channel Africa 1 as well. Remember that Facebook page is simply titled Channel Africa.
Benjamin Moshatama and Palesa Tau on the move.
Happy Friday, everybody. And today we're hanging out with multi-award winning Ghanaian singer, rapper, songwriter, composer who goes by the name of Trigmatic, joining us to speak about his career, the music, and of course to have a little bit of fun with us on the Move this Friday with Benjamin Moshatama and me, Palesa Tau. So check our live stream there on Facebook. You'll be able to see Trigmatic have this conversation with us from where he is and where we are, but we're all part of one big African family. You know, one thing that also stands out about your career span is that not only are you well respected, Trigmatic, for the music that you do, but it seems like you've been well respected in the entertainment industry as an entrepreneur in your own right. Chat to us about your building your profile as an entrepreneur, an entertainment entrepreneur at that, and how you've come to become, awarded for your entrepreneurship within the entertainment space.
Yeah, thank you. So before music, I've always had this music talent. I started performing right from my primary school when I was in primary 3. So I started quite early. One thing I discovered along that journey is how people didn't really respect the creatives at the time when I started, because in the 90s and early 2000s, African music was still struggling to be heard internationally. And so even locally, within and amongst ourselves, there was still that stigma that was attached to being a creative, especially being a musician. One, because I mean, the revenue stream wasn't so much, and so you have limited funds coming in, and your family believe that you cannot live off that. And secondly, it looked as if people who were not able to make it in school are the ones who get into the music industry. And so I grew believing that somebody has to stand for change. Somebody has to make the difference. And then when I started off, people were not going to accept me easily because I was doing rap. And in Ghana, high life was like the big sound. At the time, it still has a lot of influence on our music. And so even the ones that were rapping in the local dialect were not being accepted as much. So when I came, I had to do all forms of jobs within the industry. I've been a radio producer. I've been a radio presenter. I became a DJ.
Yeah.
Started doing rap battles. So all these opened me up to different sides and different along the value chain. I came to respect the different jobs that were in existence. I was writing for magazines, newspapers, and then I decided, you know what, let me form or create my own kind of agency. At the time, I didn't even understand what I was doing. But I think somewhere in 2008, I decided to register a company, start, putting myself on and put other people in my neighborhood on.
Love that.
Why not do that and see how that will work? I learned so many lessons along that line, and that evolved into other things. And slowly, I think what has gained that respect has been consistency. I start something and I don't stop. I start it, whether there's enough funding or not, I go for it because the spirit to push the thing is enough. Once the spirit is there, it aligns with all things. By the grace of God, you will get that support if the spirit is willing, if you are willing to make it happen. And so people could see that consistency, they could see that drive. And I think I'm a bit of a unifier. Wherever I go, I bring the people together, I bring my peers together. And that sort of makes me a leader wherever I find myself. And this is where we are today. Last year, I took the 40 Under 40 award for music education practice. And then the year before that, I took best entrepreneur. I think I've taken best entrepreneur twice in a row.
That's incredible. And I love that sense of, being not just by yourself, but also doing it for others as well. And that's something you've been consistent with as well, your sense of collaboration. I mean, we just heard a collaboration between you and Ralph Gum at the beginning of this interview, Alikoto. I know you've had a few works with Ralph Gum this year, but also we're about to hear more of your collaborations. And it's also something you've been honored for in your past, your collaborations with other artists. Chat to me about that.
Yeah, I mean, look, in music, there's no competition. And if musicians begin to realize this early, it will help, especially African artists. In music, there's no competition, there's collaboration. Music in itself is made up of collaborations. When you have a sweet sound, you hear the sound from a piano. Even the piano itself is a combination of different keys and different notes coming together to form a beautiful melody. And so you have the piano, you have the guitar, you have all elements coming together to form one beautiful sound. And then with vocalists or lead vocalists, we don't need to fight ourselves. We need to respect the different things we bring together.
Yeah.
And it's one thing the music industry need to realize, because one person cannot do it. And especially in Africa, one person cannot do it. If you're trying to push an African agenda, then collaboration is key. It's key. And I say it here, I mean, because it's Channel Africa, I will say it again that even when you look at AFTA, the AFTA is struggling. It's struggling because there's not one understanding, one language, which Dr. Nkrumah do. I'm a strong informized, and so I believe in collaboration and oneness. But music has been able to do it. If I've been able to collaborate with Intunzi Azana, in Uganda, I've done songs with Azawi, I've recorded with artists from Kenya, and what have you. It's not just for the fun of it, but it's me bringing Kenyans to Ghana and Ghanaians to Kenya.
Yeah.
And we coming together. At a point, I was pretty much living in South Africa, I think. For the longest time, I did Amazing Voices Africa in South Africa. And I saw the beauty of us, the beauty of the people that we are. So why not put it in music? And when you collaborate, it's like bringing two fan bases together.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. We'll leave it there, Trigmatic. It's been a pleasure chatting to you today. You're so well informed, and your viewpoint on entertainment, on music, and on collaboration are incredible. Where can we go to find out more, to get a hold of your music, and of course just to be an extended part of the Trigmatic family?
Thank you. You can first of all, go on my website, www.trigmaticmusic.com. Trigmatic, TRIGMATIC, music is all one word, .com. And you find my music, you find my book, you find pictures, anything that connects to me. Or you can just Google Trigmatic. I'm the only Trigmatic in the world. And so it takes you to all my pages. Instagram is Trigmatic Official. On X is Trigmatic Rocks. But once you Google Trigmatic, it brings you all my links to all of my pages. And you can connect. If you want to send me an email, it's officialtrigmatic@gmail.com. Or just go on the website and you can send us a mail directly.
What an honor, man. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. Speaking about collaborations, here's one from Trigmatic featuring Mtunzi from South Africa. It's titled Sama Chege. That's Trigmatic hanging out with us right here on The Move.